Good evening and welcome to Hudson Valley Week in Review, where we look back at the people, places, and issues making news in Ulster County and the region. I'm Amy Greene. We begin tonight in Kingston, where the city's police department has a new robotic member on the team. The Robotex Avatar is a new technological device that officers say will help them respond to volatile situations. The vehicle is equipped with a 360-degree camera, two-way radio, a headlight, and can even climb stairs and ram through doors. And it didn't cost the department a penny. Police say this machine will help them get their job done without ever having to send an officer into a potentially dangerous situation. Lieutenant Michael Bonce is a 15-year veteran with the Kingston Police Department. He explains and demonstrates how the robot works.
Actually, this particular robot, we were at the NYTOA, which is the New York Tactical Officers Association conference last year in Verona, New York, and we won the gold sponsor raffle ticket. So we actually won the robot as part of a raffle at the, or as a raffle giveaway at the NYTOA conference. It allows us to get into space where we may not be able to safely put a person, and that's really its number one advantage to us. That we can get the ability to get inside of a place visually, to hear what's going on inside, see what's going on, and possibly even initiate two-way conversation through the use of the robot without putting a cop in harm's way. The robot currently has two camera systems. There's a forward-facing camera that we use primarily as a driving camera. That is strictly a straight-ahead view. It also has a little headlight for when you have to enter dark space. It also has a second camera, which is a pan-tilt-zoom dome that's placed on the top of the camera. And that really allows us to put the tool into a room or into an open space and tilt and get a 360-degree look at what's going on in that space. There's also a microphone built into the robot, so not only can we hear what's going on in that space to a degree, and we can also communicate out through the speaker system attached, a little like a mini PA system that works with the robot, and it allows us to initiate two-way communication. Based on its design and the tracks, and this is really what the newer technology has allowed us to do, it can climb most sets of stairs. Now, it's certainly not going to climb every set of stairs. There are limitations, but most residential stairs, porches, interior stairs, even commercial buildings, it'll allow it to go up and down stairs, over small obstacles. It's pretty good all weather. We've used it in some mud, some snow, outside in the leaves. We've been able to get it underneath vehicles, so if you wanted to search perhaps the undercarriage of a vehicle for a suspicious item or a suspicious package or something else, it allows us to get under there and offers pretty good visual. It's been excellent. We've had it now, well, about 10 months. Since we received the robot, we've been training monthly with it, and we've been trying to find different ways to implement it into the training and the mock call-outs that we conduct at training. So for instance, today we were clearing a abandoned school, the Anna Devine School, which has been shut down for 2 or 3 years now. The school district allows us to train in that facility, which is fantastic for us to have that much space and different kinds of rooms to work in. So today we used the robot primarily in there. Before we would send officers in to clear or check a space, we would check the hallways, check the rooms with the robot, and we had several scenarios where we were able to make communication, both two-way communication, hearing what they have to say, and giving orders to them and have them, potentially either surrender or at least get a feel for what the person's demeanor is like at that time. It's actually very well put together in my mind. I had allowed my children to use this before I brought it to the department after we got it at the conference, and both my 8 and 11-year-old sons were able to operate the robot, obviously to varying degrees, but it is very easy to drive. The joystick allows for 360 degrees. The cameras are very easy to operate. It's almost, to me, it looks like a giant Xbox controller. It has its own little camera display in both color and in black and white, depending upon which camera, and is relatively easy to operate. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, in fact, we had an emergency services unit call out for a report of a subject that had reportedly threatened somebody else with a gun. When the officers went to the residence, they attempted to communicate with the person in the house. The person wasn't picking up the phone, wasn't responding to the bullhorn, wasn't responding to the knocks on the door, and we're able to use it then to check that space to make contact with the person. And we had a very successful resolution. Once the robot came into contact with him, he gave up without incident, and the whole thing went very well. Primarily, number one thing for us is when time is on our side. We certainly wouldn't substitute the use of a robot for a trained officer in responding to an emergency where time is of the essence. If there were, a person down, or if it was, God forbid, an active shooter, something like that, it wouldn't be very applicable, because we need to get actual cops in there. But when we have time on our side, if somebody is, perhaps barricaded where there's either a warrant for them or they're armed and they're not responding, rather than send an officer in to potentially get harmed or injured just to get information or to initiate communication, we could use the robot instead. If we have suspicious packages or space where maybe we have a threat that there is some type of device that somebody's concerned about, so rather than send a human up, we can send the robot up first and at least take a look at it, see what we can find out about it through the use of the technology. We're actually right now looking into getting pole cameras. Essentially, there's a bunch of different varieties of pole cameras, but you're mounting some type of camera on a pole system where maybe you could get up and look into a second-story window or around a corner where you don't want to put somebody in harm's way. So we're looking into pole cameras right now. We were very fortunate in 2013 to receive grant funding from the Homeland Security, New York State Division of Homeland Security, for tactical team equipment and program implementation. So we've been slowly using that grant funding to research and decide what the best use of that is to increase our technological. Actually, we've done several test and evaluations of body cameras. We're currently looking at a couple systems now. There's a number of systems out there that are the systems that we've seen seem to have pretty good footage. There's other issues that go along with body cameras that are still kind of unanswered, and there's some policy things we'd have to work out in terms of data storage, how it was going to be stored, how it's going to be downloaded, and certainly the cost of them. But we are actively looking into body cameras right now, yes. It's certainly, like every other aspect of society, technology is changing the way we do the job. And there are a lot of times where it offers us advances that, like this robot, being able to put something inside of a house without having to put an officer in there, or, the pole cameras, things like that, the video cameras in the cars, all of these things have had great impacts on helping us do our job. Sometimes the downside to technology is it changes so rapidly that by the time we're able to fully train a workforce of 80 people how the technology works, what it's going to do, then something changes and we have to start all over again. That's probably the most challenging part of it.
When we return, why the New York Blood Center in Kingston is calling on you to help rebuild the community's blood supply following the recent snowstorms. And later, an Ulster County resident is one of the latest contestants on Wheel of Fortune. So how did she do? We'll find out after the break.